Hello there. Welcome back to the Spider-Man Retrospective. I'm Scotty. You're not. We're on the episode entitled Sting of the Scorpion. I know it's the Sting of the Scorpion, but I'm just going to say Sting of the Scorpion. We don't need the in front of every title, right? So as foretold by the title, we introduced the Marvel villain of the Chameleon. No, I'm just kidding. It is the Scorpion. Yeah. And I noticed something. Disney Plus is using the intro for season 2 and beyond. Like, the intro to this is not the season 1 intro. No. Because you're seeing things like Hydro Man and the Insidious 6. And before you say, actually, it's, no, well, we'll get to it. It's not. Whatever you're going to say is that no. And even Morbius, who haven't even made appearances yet they're in the intro because they're using the, I think it's more well-known intro for the show, but it's not, I don't know. Something makes me think that these were the ones that when, because they did this when they were re-airing their reruns on Disney X, or the Toon Disney, Disney XD, whatever, Jetix, whatever, and the ABC Family stuff, that they would just air with that opening. So I think those are just those. Yeah, it's just those, and they put it up here. Those versions. So hey, if they're in better quality, why not? So we start with Peter Parker and Felicia Hardy. Again, I'm questioning when this episode is supposed to take place because they're walking down the street. Do-a-dee-dee-dum-dee-doo. No. Someone walking up there. And Peter is talking about how they, he's why they can't go out, and she's like, well, I see you as a friend. You help me study. You're don't see you as a boyfriend. He goes, well, can you see me as a boyfriend? She's like, no. But something catches his eye. He sees someone seems to be following them and walking around, which causes him to go into Spider-Man mode. And just as he starts to investigate this guy, explosion! Someone is robbing a bank because it's a Marvel show, so they gotta rob a bank. And so, I don't know if it's because I've grown accustomed to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I'm watching this part. And I start asking questions. So, this guy has some sort of rocket launcher that he's firing at Spider-Man. He fires it twice. And Spider-Man just moves to the side and lets it fly past him. And I don't know if I'm in the frame of mind for the MCU where they talk about, repercussions of their actions. But I'm sitting here going, wait, what about whatever that missile's going to hit? And it does twice. They do it twice. And I'm like, no, huh? I know it's a cartoon, and I'm questioning too much. But I see missile flying at Spider-Man, or whatever, the rocket launch, whatever. And he moves out of the way, it just flies past him, and I'm thinking, but what about where that's going to hit? It's not just go in the air. It's like in the movies where cops come in and they go, that's enough. You can't do that because bullets come down. Where's it going to come down? So those missiles or whatever they are going to go somewhere. But in a cartoon for kids, you don't really question it. But in my now MCU frame of mind, I'm like, but what do those blow up though? Right? He deals with them, but the guy who's following him seems to have disappeared. Very next day, we see this guy. It goes to visit JJ. And one thing for this episode, as middle of the road as it is, it introduces the Scorpion, but also it sort of gives a backstory to Jameson. And I'll just say it here. We find out later as he's talking to Robbie Robertson. I think it's Robbie Duxby. His wife. He was on a case, because he used to be a private eye himself. He was on a case and he was pushing too much, and he was told by this mobster not to. he didn't listen, and the mobster killed his wife. I'm assuming this is when his son, John, we haven't been introduced to yet, was a little boy. Because, you know. Which makes me question how long ago this was, because JJ is in his twilight years here. I'm assuming he's like 50, maybe 45. I don't know. So John should be in his 20s, maybe 30s? How long ago did that happen? I don't know. He was pretty young there. Yeah, and so it's a gangster who wore a mask, and so he automatically hates people who wears masks. And that's why he hates Spider-Man, because he doesn't trust people who wear masks. This episode doesn't do any justice to it, but we don't really get called... His private eye life, his PI life, does get called back to later. I forgot what his nickname was, but yeah. So, he's hired Mac Gargan, as the private eye to investigate Spider-Man, to figure out where his hideout is. When it doesn't work, they visit Farley Stillwell, who has had a hand in the creation of Spider-Man, as we find out later, he was the one doing the demonstration when the spider came down and got hit with the neogenic recombinator, and yeah. We'll find out later. So he's going to do the same thing, but with a scorpion. But the spider coming down was an accident, and somehow he knows how it's going to works. They're using a scorpion because the scorpion is a natural predator of the spider. So they use that to turn Mac Gargan into the scorpion. I think it's interesting that they don't explicitly say that Gargan was a criminal beforehand. They give a reason why he goes nuts. Literally goes nuts. So now that he's a scorpion, they send him after Spider-Man, which lands him in a fight by the water tower. Yes. They fight, and he has this... Scorpion has this acid stuff in his tail. He uses it, hits the water tower, causes the water to fall, and eggs. Eggs. This is where the ad came in, because that's the commercial break. This is where the ad popped up for eggs. Eggland's best. Eggs. Get some. I don't know why this ad above all the other ones popped out to me, but I'm watching this, and I see the water happening, and it cuts to the ads, and I go, eggs! I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah. Well, when we get back to the show, Spider-Man is washed away, and the Scorpion is gone. But Scorpion is mad because something's happening to him. Apparently, the neogenic recombinator is having some side effects. Side effects that... It's not like the side effects that Spider-Man will go through, but it's causing his brain to mess up. It's messing his brain, causing a psychosis. So he wants to change that. He wants to reverse it. But JJ only cares about, finishing off Spider-Man, and they go back to Stillwell's office to get it reversed. Spider-Man, of course, follows him. I do like, though, we gotta go back. So, because I skipped something. Peter overhears JJ bitching and complaining about about they're trying to follow Parker to get to Spider-Man. So, he comes into Spider-Man, threatens them, and says, hey, you stop sending Parker at me to take his little pictures. And he creates this big thing of web, like a pile of web, and stomps on it and goes, or I'll do this to you. So it's kind of like to lead them off. I like that. And we also get a moment here where he calls Aunt May to tell her he's not going to make it back home. He's too busy. And she says, well, I was going to invite Anna Watson's niece to the lunch. And I'm like, but within the context of what we've been watching, they already know each other. One thing I can think of is that, I'm looking at Wikipedia and I'm trying to figure out the production. I didn't look at the production dates, but this episode, I don't know. The air dates are all the same. I don't know. But Again, look at the network it's aired on. Fox. Notoriously known, like I can speak English, for airing episodes out of order. I'm just going by the order they're on Disney Plus and Wikipedia for some of it. Because they had 2 episodes reversed there, but yeah. So, Gargan's plan is he wants to have this whole thing reversed so he goes back to normal. He doesn't like being called names, apparently. Spider-Man shows up at Stillwell's lab, and Stillwell announces that because he's messed with it, there's going to be a nuclear explosion. And they could flood the entire city. And even when JJ explains this, Scorpion's like, I don't care. I don't care what happens, as long as I get what I want. And I'm going, dude, you can get what you want, but if it explodes and the whole city's covered in a nuclear explosion, it's not gonna matter. You could be normal again, but you're still gonna die. Or get radiation poisoning. Well, probably die, but his motivations are confusing to me. He wants to be normal again, but if the nuclear explosion happens, it's not going to matter whether he's human or not. You know what happens. Spider-Man comes in, he saves the day. Saving the day. He actually gets a backup, because it looks like Scorpion's going to win, but JJ interferes and helps Spider-Man. He saves Spider-Man. What do you know? But we make sure at the end to make sure that JJ says, nothing's changed. I'm still gonna get you. Which doesn't really make any sense, because if the storyline is going in that direction, he should learn. Even though he hates that masked mobster for what happened to his wife, he shouldn't. This whole thing should be about, maybe I shouldn't question every person with a mask. They're not all bad. But we have to have JJ be the guy who's always trying to smear Spider-Man on the... By smear, I mean, throw in bad news stories against him. Yeah. But, yeah. But yeah, Scorpion is taken care of and the day is saved. And then Felicia nearly runs his ass over. Yeah, he's walking down the street, do-I-diddy-dum-diddy-do by himself. There he was, just walking down the street, singing do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. When Felicia nearly ran over his ass, singing do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. No, she comes rearing up. And she basically apologizes because he technically ditched her, but we don't see her for this episode till here. And she's like, I understand why you ditched me. It was to teach me a lesson or something. And I'm just like, what? And so, yeah, I don't know. So they're not going to go on a date, but they're going to lunch. I don't know. It's not a date, but I don't know. That confuses me. Yes. It's fine. Like I said, it's a decent one. It's a middle of the road episode. If I was rating these on my scale, it would be middle of the road, but it's fine. It introduces a villain. The thing about these season 1 episodes, except for the Slayer episodes, they introduce the villains that are going to be more important in future seasons, especially with season 2. Especially for the Rogues Gallery. The regular Rogues Gallery, like, Dr. Octopus, the Scorpion, and those Mysterio and those natures. I'm not going to name any more because we haven't been introduced to them yet. But, yeah. Next episode is an interesting one. Yes. I actually get to compare it to the movie version. Yes. But, yeah, so what are your thoughts on this episode? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'm almost done. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.